So without further ado, I think we're going to move into our first pitching session. Our first session we'll be moving through is bionic mobility, and within this section, what we're looking for is innovations in design, manufacturing, and functionality of prosthesis, sensors, wearables, technology applications, and allied health services. So really exciting category. Wonderful to have been exposed to these pitches through the practice rounds, and I can't wait to see the reaction and response from the rest of the group. Please encouraging everybody to keep the comments flooding through, keep asking questions, sharing ideas, and cheering on your co-participants. And I think I'd like to see if you're ready to look at doing your presentation, Sue, when we're looking at home to hospital, and Sue O will be presenting that on behalf of that team.
So what does your home mean for you? Your home is a place where you feel safe and comfortable. Make it your own. Say home sweet home when you walk through those doors. One day can change all of this. You never make it home. You wake up in hospital and they give you a wheelchair to get up. Approximately 100 people sustain a new spinal cord injury in Queensland per year, most of whom will become dependent on a wheelchair. Approximately 70% will return to their homes but require major modifications. Home mods are complex, costly, and confronting, and it takes time to know what you need, what you want. Clinicians and patients are experiencing major delays, up to 3 months within the current funding processes, causing stress and increasing length of stay. The process of home mods from beginning to end is complex. First, the patient waits for funding to be approved for an occupational therapist to complete the assessment. We know that there are delays here. Then the OT completes the assessment with photos and drawings of the environment. Then there are discussions with key stakeholders, the patients, the therapist, builder, and the funders to determine the feasibility of the modifications. Here's another time point where there are delays. Patients can often find this component challenging, confronting due to their readiness during their time of grief and loss, and strategies such as mock-up environments, like in the photo, are used to help imagine what home might look like. Once the modifications are complete, the patients can have access to their home to trial the environment. However, there's not a lot of scope for any changes to occur prior to discharge. Our proposed solution aims to overcome the delays to start this process. We propose a simple mobile application where a family member can easily accurately capture the home environment, for that significant data then to be translated into a virtual model, then immerse themselves within the patient's home environment within the hospital to assess, modify, and trial and test what they need and want. Here, patients and clinicians will be able to change the height of basins, widen doorways, place equipment required, trial it, imagine it. Overall, we anticipate that access to this technology will decrease the delays, increase the accuracy of the proposed modifications, and allow patients to actively engage and to participate in the modification process. We know that there's technology currently available that can scan an environment, but nothing that meets the requirements of patients and clinicians within the clinical context. So what's so unique about this? We need this technology to be simple, to be usable by a low-tech user. That patient from Townsville who's waiting for funding to be approved should be able to avoid these delays by asking a family member to use a simple mobile application to accurately capture the home environment, send the data to the clinicians at the hospital. The technology will be person-centered, co-designed with patients at the forefront of all decision-making. We want to revolutionise the experience and process of home modifications. The project is led by clinicians and patients themselves. We have technical experts and organisational partnerships within the team who have the current knowledge, expertise, and the access of the available technologies to identify gaps, co-design a solution that will provide a strong market fit. This solution will be owned by the Hopkins Centre, thus the IP is between Metro South Health and Griffith University. As a centre for research, we'll be driven by improving outcomes and experiences for users of this product. We're excited about this project as there's scope for this to be used by other key stakeholders of this process, such as builders, and also to expand to other types of disability as well as in aged care. We've considered the potential interest from funding bodies as it can provide seamless delivery to home modifications having an economical benefit. We have commitment from our team members and partners such as Microsoft, Metro South and Griffith University in the way of in-kind contributions, but we'll need funding to progress with this project. For the development of our MVP, we anticipate that we'll need $65,000 for the development of the technical devices, for capturing, translating and immersing, the expertise of clinicians, technicians, researchers and patients, and $60,000 for pilot testing, which includes the involvement of patients and clinicians to test the products, evaluate and refine the various scenarios. We know that from research that so much technology is abandoned due to the lack of skill, knowledge and the technical support. Therefore, we want to invest $20,000 on training for end users to use the technology within the clinical context to ensure ease of use and the uptake and sustainability. So this project aims to revolutionise the experience and process of home modifications. It will provide access to technology that is simple to use, fits the purpose within the clinical context, and funding for this project will support the development of the proof of concept and allow for the capacity to grow and develop for it to be used in many other settings. Thank you.
Good. Congratulations, Sue. That was fantastic. How do you feel?
Yeah, good.
Good. And I'm so pleased you finished at 16 or 17 seconds over because I really didn't want to cut you off. I'm really just glad that happened. So well done and thank you. Congratulations on being our first out of the gates today. Thank you for doing such a wonderful job of that. And yeah, a great start. So thank you. Let's move on. Let's get our next group together. Andrew, if you're ready to go to present to us Symbiotic Innovations Lightweight EEG Controlled Mobility Device. And Andrew, really looking forward to your presentation today, and lovely to see the family there with you. And Daisy, how are you, Daisy? Good morning. and also good to see you might have better internet connection today too, Andrew.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. You're coming through very clearly, so that's great. So we're ready to go. If you want to take a deep breath, as always, and whenever you kick off, we'll start the clock, and very much looking forward to seeing how your project's evolved. Thank you.
Cool, and thank you. And the previous presentation is quite topical because in the background, we actually have some renovation work happening. So thank you for going first. So welcome everybody to the DAISY project. So one thing I want to start with is introduce Daisy. So this is Daisy Flood. She's 11, almost 12, I should add. And her favourite superhero is Captain Marvel because of her total awesomeness. So, but Daisy herself is also totally awesome. But unfortunately, she has Friedreich's ataxia, which is a degenerative disorder. So her physical abilities are never going to get better. They're only going to get worse. But her mental ability is absolutely spot on. She is bright as a button and will continue to grow. But what that'll do is it really will conflict with the increasing challenges of her mobility. So one of the things that I should point out is at the moment there is no cure for this, but some of the treatments are actually related to movement. So the more movement we can provide Daisy, the better, and early on as well. So the earlier on in people's lives, the better. And it is a restricted mobility problem that we're trying to solve, and hopefully we can solve and help about 1 million Australian with similar problems and similar mobility issues. So this is a big problem and needs to be solved. And so we feel that this is a really good challenge. We have Daisy here to be our key collaborator to see if we can solve this problem. Now, the problem with I want to illustrate this problem a little bit further, is that because it's a degenerative disease. The issue is that the world gets smaller and smaller. There is pain, and the current solutions are very expensive with limited availability and limited dynamic applications. So, we want to basically provide Daisy with the ability to deal with, to live in the world as much as a normal person as possible. So we want to act now to give Daisy new abilities, new superpowers. We want to be able to make her own decisions. We want to be able to have her own control, and we want to give her more time with her peers. We've got a great team. We've got Catherine Hayday, who has a caring person who has had experience with caregivers. Obviously, we have Daisy, smack bang in the middle of our team. We have Joe Cronin, who's a specialist in exoskeleton operation and control. And then we have young Ella, who is absolutely passionate about data and is committed to making this project work. So the innovation that we want to try and focus on is really trying to take existing technology that's out there now and bringing that to Daisy's world as soon as possible. So we're looking at EEG controls, and we're looking at interacting with home automation, with existing mobility solutions, and ultimately exoskeleton, and a special exoskeleton at that. One leveraging a different type of control and mechanism that could lend itself to a whole range of wearability. We're looking at different brain-computer interfaces, and actually through this competition, we've been exposed to another one. So we're hoping to work with Casey from Cortex EEG to also add to our portfolio. So the key here is also we're innovating the business model. The current solution is very expensive, and we want to also try and provide a solution where instead of buying the solutions, that we actually provide as a service and actually maintain and monitor the support of those technologies. And so actually providing that service can be quite useful. Now, one of the things that we also are keeping in mind is the bandwidth of caregivers and the finances aspect. So trying to come up with solutions that are both cost effective, but also are approachable and supportive of the whole system. This is our timeline. We've been working on this already, and we really hope that we're successful with this competition because it will give us a jump start on accelerating some of our progress. So we are going through phased development, as I've already indicated. We're also dealing with some shadow issues like the bulkiness, but also trying to think about future technologies. And with that, I want to thank you. I want to sort of highlight one thing, that if we are successful in changing and helping Daisy's world, then we are on the right track. One last thing, if we can help Daisy beat mum at the dot game through the brain-computer interface, that's going to be a bonus. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Andrew and Daisy, for joining us. Really lovely to have you there smiling away, and hope you've really enjoyed seeing that get presented. So well done and welcome. If we can now move on to our next group, we're going to hear from Alejandro, and he's presenting for his team on wearable, lightweight robotic device for assist as needed walking, and really excited to see where you've taken the presentation, Alejandro. It's been exciting to see it previously, and I'm sure today will be no different. So over to you to start in your own time. Nice to see you've gotten up early on a Saturday and putting a jacket on and styling for the rest of the day. So over to you to start whenever you're ready, and then we'll pick up some questions afterwards.
Can you hear me and see my slides already?
We can hear you, and yep, all good. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for the introduction, and good morning, everyone. Within the last 35 years, we have seen enormous technological advances in the field of robotics and restoration of movements. Literally, we have thousands of publications per year on this topic, and this is reflected in a clear market need for these technological innovations. Only the rehabilitation robotics market, without considering other assistive technologies such as prosthetics or wearable exoskeletons, was estimated to be $520 million in 2018, with a projected growth to $2.6 billion by 2026. But where are all these solutions? Shouldn't all these technologies be already widely adopted by users? Unfortunately, we know that between 25 and 60% of users reject or abandon these technologies. And this is not to mention those who do not even consider a high-tech solution. Of course, this range depends on what we're talking about, if it's about prosthetics, rehab devices, but we know that we can do better to improve adoption. We know where the major problems are. cost, availability, function, weight, power consumption. And the reality is that simple technology is hard to beat. As an example, the winner of the Cybertron in 2016 used a body power prosthesis, which was simple and easy to use. Our ultimate goal is to increase adoption of bionic devices through innovations in technology. We propose a solution that is energy efficient. It must work for everyday use and work for an entire day. A solution that is lightweight to help reduce pressure sores, skin irritation, altered body posture, abnormal biomechanics. A solution that is adapted to impaired neuromechanics. There are lots of exoskeleton solutions out there that are targeted for industrial or sports application, but the requirements are not the same where we're aiming for a medical product. And finally, we're aiming for a solution that is personalized, that fits the body side, function, and follows aesthetics. For this challenge, we will target the millions of people that are in the need for a solution to help them walk. Only in Australia, there are approximately 680,000 people that depend on crutches, walkers, wheelchairs, orthoses, etc. And only in Queensland, there are 140,000 people that depend on such mobility aids. Exoskeletal technology is great, but the reality is that it doesn't suit the majority of users. Therefore, for this specific challenge, we're targeting people that can stand up and walk alone, but still require assistance to walk safely. For example, insufficient lifting of the foot can increase the risk of falling, and we know that passive orthosis inhibits active contributions from the users. Our team has a competitive advantage. We have a patented technology that is 10 times lighter and 1,000 times more power efficient than equivalent actuation technologies commonly used in bionic solutions. Moreover, our team member has proven that this technology can work efficiently as a walking assistive device. Our value proposition is to translate this promising technology into a functional bionic device that helps people with neurological impairments walk safely. We have key innovations. We will embed sensors, use neuromechanical model and machine learning to make the system robust to different gait speeds and walking speeds. We will provide real-time adaptation of walking assistance to promote the use of residual neuromuscular activity, which we know is crucial to regain walking capabilities. We are confident that we can test this relevant scenario within 36 months by adopting a technology development framework that is user-driven and that aims at being in the market as soon as possible. Our mission is to promote bionic technology adoption worldwide. In the short, mid-term, we will harness the market position of our team partner, Hokoma, who is a global market leader in rehabilitation technologies, and will help us quickly reach the worldwide customer base and promote our solution throughout their extensive sales network. In the long term, we expect that our solution is mature enough for it to be a standalone product that is proudly Australian. We see this as a unique opportunity to form a strong momentum in Australia around exoskeletal technology. Our team will connect Australia and Queensland in particular to key players in the largest development and market centers for bionics in the world. Our team is well placed to carry out these projects. We have a unique knowledge and experience covering academic, clinical, industrial, not only in manufacturing and commercialization, but we have influencers in standards in exoskeleton technology. We hope that you're as excited as we are to make this solution a reality, and thank you for listening.
And thank you, Alejandro, for a wonderful presentation. Really enjoyed that, and thank you for those answers to those questions, and judges really engaging. So really appreciate that. Let's move on to our next presentation. So if I could ask Laurent to be ready, and thank you, Laurent, already there. Wonderful. He's going to be presenting osseo-integrated bionic limbs could pull more than their weight. So great title, Laurent, and really looking forward to your presentation. And relax. I know you're a wonderful presenter. Really looking forward to what you have to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Can you hear me and can you see?
Yes, you're looking smashing and you're coming through loud and clear. So thank you.
I might keep that on the record. Thank you, everyone. All right, Matt, Rebecca, Anton, and one of our chief investigator, Caroline. They all use an osseo-integrated implant, and their clinician must make sure that the bone and the implants bond strongly during the rehabilitation. And that triggers fears of loosening and infection. The dentistry industry has solved the problem by using an OSTEL device, providing a quantitative information to diagnose implant stability. But the orthopedics industry relies heavily on qualitative evidence from medical images. And unfortunately, the rehabilitation with osseointegrated prosthesis is also guided by pain. So there is a need for a medical device to diagnose stability of osseointegrated prosthesis. We know that clearly bionic solutions improve significantly the life of the amputee. However, implant must be removed in approximately 20% of cases. So that's not good enough. And that's not good enough to restore safely daily mobility, let alone to perform challenging activities. And I've put a service member here because I do a lot of work for the DoD. So being able to return to active duty is a big thing. So we are focusing on a well-defined group of customers. So this might raise the questions about the market size. So let's try to address this concern. First, we will focus on a population susceptible to use bionic solutions with a market valued at over 5 million by 2025. Then we will expand to a global population of amputees, including 1 in 80 Americans amputee living with an amputations by 2050. So that's millions of people. This is a strategic market that is fast growing. Indeed, all major providers of components are trying to find their way to enter this market. Our innovation is more likely to progress upward as a goldmine opportunities, but more work is needed to consolidate this prediction. So what is our innovation? We want to develop a medical device called Tomax 2.0 that integrates load-bearing wearable load sensors and a personalized neuromusculoskeletal model for a real-time animations of a digital twin of the residuum during load-bearing exercises. The good news is that we have a prototype, and we've used that prototype to publish evidence of TRL5 for each part of the device. So Tomax will be a game changer. It will give practitioners a first ever non-invasive and easy to use diagnostic device that is critical for the rehabilitations and the long-term success of all osseointegrated solutions. In fact, all the projects you are going to see today will be one way or the other, depending on this work. So of course, the Tomax will make the unknown visible, but the big picture here is to improve safety, mobility, and quality of life. Our team of investigators has published over 800 articles, and some of us are ranked within the top 2% of experts worldwide. The whole team includes 14 experts in the field of amputation, artificial limbs, bone-anchored prosthesis, and technology transfer. So what are we going to do during the 12 months of the project? First, we will complete the proof of concept to achieve TRL5 for the Tomax 2.0. Next, we will publish 3 articles. They won't present any patent-threatening information, but they will give us the credential for subsequent grant application and discussion with partners. At the same time, we will refine our commercialization plan, and we have already identified 14 partners who manufactures and distributes implant, prosthetic component, and sensors. This includes 9 partners I have previously worked with as a consultant, and we will primarily engage with Integrum, Osur, and OrthoCare Innovation. We will also apply for grants to develop the Tomax 2.0 Plus to reach TRL7 to TRL9, including partnership grants. Approximately $143,000 will be required for this project. 65% will be provided as in kind, but we are requesting $50,000 for 35% of the project. Thank you.
Oh, Laurent, fantastic. I was getting nervous about that clock. Well done. Thank you so much for a wonderful presentation. Let's move on now to Trent and team who are going to take us through training bespoke tissue engineered vascular grafts via soft robotics. So really looking forward to seeing how your presentations evolve, team, and I know how much work you've been putting into it, and such an exciting solution across some really advanced areas of science. So how are you feeling, Trent? Pumped?
Yeah, feeling great. How are you?
Well, I'm good, but I'm curious because it's only just gone 10:30 and you normally operate best on craft beer. So I'm curious how you're going to go a little early in the day. We'll see.
Our team's declined to comment.
All right, well, take a deep breath, relax, and we're in your hands. Kick off whenever you're ready.
Fantastic. Well, vascular grafts are grown from the patient's own cells in a lab are the future of medical intervention for peripheral artery disease, potentially eliminating the complications with current technologies, reducing the clinical burden, and improving patient outcomes. However, advances are stifled by the inability to train cells to behave mechanically as they should in the body. Our team is developing a new solution to condition tissue with autobionics via soft robotics, and we're bringing bionics to the cellular level. Our team of dedicated interdisciplinary researchers have united in a common goal to reduce the burden of vascular disease on patients, family, and hospitals alike, while providing tools for fellow researchers and graft manufacturers to enhance our understanding of tissue regeneration and provide new techniques forged by experts for experts. Cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of death and disability worldwide. In fact, there's over 420 million cases a year, with 17 million deaths occurring per year. In Australia, it's the single largest clinical burden, costing $15 billion. Peripheral artery disease, which is characterized by lesions in the arteries of our extremities, is the culprit of half of CVD cases, with over 230 million people affected globally. 80% of these cases occur in the lower limbs or the femoropopliteal artery, which is largely due to our lifestyle and the mechanical forces experienced. And this is a massive problem for mobility due to limb pain and other conditions. Due to this dynamic location and the length of the lesions, peripheral artery disease in the arteries of the leg are difficult for surgeons to treat with current technologies. Current treatment options, such as the gold standard, use a graft of the vein or an autograft to bypass the lesion. This requires multiple surgeries and is unsuitable for 40% of patients who receive an alternative, which is the synthetic graft, but this cannot match the mechanical and biological properties of the arteries, triggering further complications. With neither of these solutions currently able to restore natural arterial function, research is looking towards regenerative solutions, such as tissue-engineered vascular grafts or lab-grown human arteries, where the patient's cells are implanted on a scaffold, grown, and then inserted into the patient. Currently, this is only seen in mercy studies in human trials, as they do not have the mechanical requirements needed for functional use. Growing cells need mechanical stimulation to be functional. And furthermore, the current grafts are not anatomically best spoke to the patient. So we propose a modified autobionic workflow where 3D medical imaging data acquires a 3D model, which we can then print into a mold. This mold is then applied to a scaffold, which is then inserted into our autobionic platform, where it is then engaged in soft robotic actuation, and creating a modified autobionic workflow that delivers functionalized tissue with the appropriate anatomical geometry while negating the multiple surgeries and reducing strain on hospitals, clinicians, and patients. Currently, by 2023, the vascular graft market will reach 6.2 billion, and the tissue-engineered vascular grafts are expected to take over the market in the coming years as technology advances. Global spot soft robotics presently are valued at 645 million on the market. However, by 2025, this is expected to jump to 4.9 billion. The bioreactor market sees the highest CGAR at 17% in the medtech industry. It is expected that our novel bioreactor platform can capture a large amount of this market, but also the device testing market by de-risking development pipelines of future devices with our enhanced autobionic solution. We predict 3 end users. Firstly, people like ourselves, researchers and medical engineers in the industry and academia areas, but also surgeons such as Dr. Nigel Pinto from the Royal Brisbane Hospital and Metro North Hospital Health Services is one of our advisors and works closely with us to ensure our deliverables are aligned with their unmet needs. And finally, we intend to discuss patient receptiveness to this technology via our clinical advisors. Here is a snapshot of our progress so far and our corresponding budget to each milestone. We have a plan to get our first proof of concept for the medical device by the 1st of December and a fully functional Bionics system and additional deliverables by July 1st, 2021. Please support us to advance research, improve patient outcomes, and reduce clinical burden through business development options and consultation, exposure to potential investors and partners, as well as financial support to seed further validation research. I'd like to thank our judges, the Bionics Queensland Group and Advance Queensland for today. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you, Trent and team. Fantastic presentation. Now, I want to thank all of our bionic mobility candidates today and your presentations. They've been really top class. And I'm with you, Peter. I'm very glad it's you doing the judging with obviously Steve and Damien. So thank you very much for your insightful questions. And I think that's also helped the teams in their own thinking and some of the areas they need to stretch their own heads.